Well, so far in this competition on Recurve Sunday, it's been an all-Asian podium. There's a chance for that to stop here as Mexico take on China for bronze.
On target number 1, representing the People's Republic of China, Li Xiaoman. On target number 2, representing Mexico, Alejandra Valencia.
So Li Jiaman and Wei Xiaojuan line up for China. They came through Canada, USA and Korea, losing out to Korea 6-0 in the semi-finals. For Mexico, it's Matias Grande there and Alejandra Valencia beating Italy and India before losing out to Chinese Taipei. So we've got a tasty little bronze medal match coming up.
So these early arrows in the match are always very important to, get your sight set, get familiar with the whole venue. Even though it seems like this morning the wind is not really a factor just yet, you never know what for instance, the light circumstances are like. So the angle of the sun, is that going to change your sight setting? So there's always a couple of, I wouldn't say practice arrows, but the first arrows are kind of gauge if you need to change something coming from the practice field.
Yeah, you talk about the light as well, and you can see 3 of the 4 athletes are wearing some kind of bib hat to protect them from the sun. I think Wei Xiaojuan has got sunglasses on. Did you have a preference when you were shooting?
So I struggled shooting with sunglasses unless they had no frame, so it was just glass basically, because of the angle of my head. So I opted for a bucket cap most of the time. Not necessarily the best style choice in some occasions, but it did work really well against the sun.
Well, I've seen you with sunglasses on as well, and I think the hat is probably preferable, to be honest with you, Chef. So 37 set by China. An opportunity for Mexico here. They can afford to drop 1 point, but 2 means the most they can do now is level up, and this requires Alejandra Valencia to hit the 10 ring.
They have a very good group, but they're all slightly on the left. And with that 9, that means that the first set will go to China.
Yeah, and all Asian podiums so far in the Recurve women and Recurve men's competition. If China were to do this, well, it's a clean sweep across the teams for the Asian continent.
Yeah, and there is an argument in they must have been prioritizing the Asian Games as well, so they must be getting into shape for that. But then again, the Pan American Games are also coming up, so Mexico will also be looking at being in shape for that.
Yeah, they trail here. Valencia couldn't quite get into the 10, but as Chef said, good group for them. If they can just move that into the center of the target, they are going to have a chance in this match. how much does ranking really matter, especially in the team competitions? Because Mexico came through with through their ranking round, ranked second for this mixed team competition. China down in fifth.
Well, at this point in the competition, it doesn't matter anymore because you start at 0, and I mean, you got through to the bronze medal match, so you've shot probably equally as well. In the beginning, the ranking is mostly important because if you rank second, you are probably not going to meet Korea until the final. So that's the way I look at it as a former athlete.
I see what you did there.
So in that regard, it's good to rank high, but then again, you just want to shoot as many points as possible and see where you get.
Yeah, interesting point there. Ranking perhaps not so important, but the draw certainly is. Set number 2, Matis Grande will kick things off.
Still a little bit on the left, but manages to get into the 10 ring now.
Almost put it in exactly the same spot as his first arrow from the first set.
Yeah, and did still adjust his side a bit, so he's still looking to get closer to the center.
Early evidence is that Mexico have moved their group into the middle of the target. What effect is that going to have on Li Jiaman? Very vocal Chinese coach.
I feel like that's also a bit of a cultural thing, maybe, because I remember distinctly shooting against the teams from China or Korea. If you're in the elimination phase, often the coach and the people behind the behind the tents or behind the area in which the spectators can stand are very loud and vocal, whereas most European countries, for instance, were slightly less vocal.
Again, it's a case of what works, and at the moment, this is certainly working for China. 9 enough to go 4-0 up. That's a 9 that they've got for a 38 and a 4-0 lead. And again, it's proving that 8s at this level just aren't enough.
Yeah, and that 4-0 lead means that China has a very good position here because they only need to tie whichever set still will be shot. So if they tie the next set or the set after that, well, they walk away with the win in this match. So on the other end of things, that means that Mexico cannot afford to tie a set anymore. They need to win the next 2 sets straight up, and then they force a shoot-off. Yeah,
a lot of pressure on them. The early indications that they moved their group to the right place, but then it kind of drifted a bit too far off.
Yeah, I think that last arrow by Alejandra was just not as clean of a shot. And I think she knew, because when she got off the line, she had a bit of a smile on her face, recognizing that wasn't the best shot. But that's the second time that they kind of throw away a set by shooting an 8. It's obviously simple to say, like, just don't shoot 8s, but it's easier said than done. It's a bit unfortunate that they do it at such critical moments.
Yeah, difficult time for them, a lot of pressure on them. Cameraman picked up the chief cheerleader for the Chinese squad in the crowd. Matías Grande stepping onto the shooting line for set number 3, a must-win set for Mexico to stay in contention for the podium here in Paris.
So far, Matías has started off every set with a 10. So, like, opening the set is something that he manages really well. You just need to keep this going.
Got a quick shot.
Yeah, sometimes your shot doesn't have to take long. If you draw back, your side's in the middle, and extension goes well, then, well, a quick shot is okay. If your side's not in the middle and you kind of, like, the shot goes unexpectedly quick, that sometimes breeds for some issues.
That coach doing a magic job. And Grande followed up and matched by Lee and Wei. Pressure back on the Mexican side of the shooting line. So by far their best score in a set, 39 out of a possible 40. That gives China room here. They only have to match it to take the bronze medal. Well, a much longer shot there, and that is the result. A 28 now means that China cannot get to 39, and Mexico get themselves back in the match. So a bit of pressure applied from Alejandro Valencia and Matías Grande, and it appears to have worked. That was a much longer shot from Lee Jie-man.
Yeah, we were talking about that first shot by her that was relatively quick, and then that second shot was just like, it was way longer than it should. Like, she dragged it out way too long. Sometimes that's okay. If you can keep your composure, if you can keep your lines in check and don't collapse. But this just seemed like she couldn't get to the place that she needed to be at, and well, she could have threw it into the 8.
Back in the match, the Mexicans, Valencia and Grande. And here's that long third arrow from Lee Jie-man.
Yeah, you have to imagine you're holding, well, in her case, probably around 40 pounds on the fingers. And you're just standing there waiting for that clicker to go. And all of your muscles that you're using to keep your bow at full draw are gonna, you know, fill up with lactic acid, and it just, they're gonna kind of stiffen up, and you kind of want to have a relaxed and fluid shot, and not a stiff and you know, plucky release.
Well, she's had a bit of time to recover. Mexico's still behind, so Grande up on the shooting line and completes the full set of 10s with his first arrow in each set. Valencia's gone 10-10 in the last 2 sets with her first arrow. Drops into the 9.
Something interesting about Lee is that she has, I think, something around her fingers to prevent her finger sling from cutting into her fingers too much. And I can kind of understand why, because if you have days where you shoot, like right now they're shooting 8 arrows each, but in a training day you sometimes shoot 300, 400, 500 arrows a day, and eventually that will wear off your skin off your fingers. if you don't build calluses that are thick enough. Actually, both archers from China are using that. So I'm guessing that's because they shoot very high volumes of arrows in training.
Firme al centro, seguro.
Oh dear, that does not bode well. Come back to your finger discussion. Alejandra Valencia clearly has to protect her fingers as well.
Yeah, that's on the other side, obviously. The string hand is also pretty sensitive. If you shoot a lot of arrows, the leather of your finger tab isn't always enough. So yeah, a bit of extra protection is always good on that front.
So protection all round. There's a chance here for the Chinese team, and that is a great arrow. Takes a little bit of pressure off Wei Xiaozhuan. A 9 for bronze for China. Into the 10 for a 38 and a 6-2 victory. China's Li Jiaman and Wei Xiaozhuan had a little blip in the third set, but in the end have comfortably taken the bronze medal. And hats off to the coach as well, who proved his worth.
That was interesting to see as well, with the coach giving his athlete, Li Jiaman, giving some technique cues, saying like, oh, you were doing this, so maybe next time keep that in mind when you're shooting. So definitely this bronze medal for them is not the final stage. They're looking ahead, and they're probably looking at the Asian Games coming up later this year, thinking if you want to do better than what we've done today or this week, we need to work on this. It's a good moment for it as well, because now it's like still fresh in your memory. So then if you give that immediate feedback, you can do something with it, rather than telling her about it later today or tomorrow, where that memory is kind of not as fresh anymore.
Good point.